Today we are here at session number 10 to talk about respecting your body. So far we've talked mostly about food and how to listen to your body when you're eating, and we've just talked about emotional eating in the last session. So today we want you to take a minute to check in with yourself and ask yourself where you're at with your body and how you're feeling about her. So go ahead and pause the video and take a minute to do that now. And then when you come back to us, we are going to take you through 3 steps to learn how you can decide to start respecting your body now. So those steps are going to be identifying your beliefs and habits for step number 1. Step number 2 will be accepting your present body right now. And step number 3 will be deciding that you want to love your body now.
Step number 1 is identifying beliefs and habits. So we want you to think about what beliefs you have about the female body. A lot of times we are affected by media images, or maybe we grew up in a house where there was a lot of diet talk, either like from our mom or aunts or family friends, older sisters, whatever. Maybe we were bombarded with a lot of that language growing up. Or obviously we have talked a ton about how everywhere you look there's diets or magazines that are telling you how to lose 15 pounds in 5 days, or the latest way to look hot in your bikini. Those kinds of images, those kinds of messages definitely get down deep into our subconscious, and they create certain subconscious beliefs that we have about body image. So think about yourself, think about your perspective. What do you believe about the body? Do you believe that people who are a certain weight or look a certain way, that they're more deserving of love or more deserving of success? Or do you believe that people who are skinnier, that they look better in certain clothes? Really think about what your beliefs are about body images, and ask yourself, what does the ideal woman look like? This is going to really help you get down to the core of your beliefs. Basically what happens is we have conscious thoughts. So perhaps we look at something, we look at a magazine, and we see a very beautiful fitness model on the cover of the magazine, and we think, wow, that woman looks really beautiful. I wish I looked like her. And then what happens is those conscious thoughts, they then become deep-rooted into subconscious beliefs. So suddenly you are not as good as that model, or not as good as someone who looks thin, or if you could only lose weight, you would be more attractive. All these things get really embedded deep into our subconscious beliefs. And then those subconscious beliefs filter right up to what we say, our conscious, interactions, are the words that we're using, the thoughts that we're having. So to change that, we have to first change our conscious thoughts, which will then change our subconscious thoughts, and then lead to new conscious interactions, beliefs, things like that. So that's a little bit about how the mind works in terms of those beliefs. So really think about subconsciously, what do you believe about the ideal woman or body image, and try and figure out what happened consciously previously to bring you to that belief.
And the other part about this is the belief in numbers. So whether that's weighing yourself or needing to run a certain amount of miles or minutes on a treadmill or anything like that, and just getting really attached to numbers and tying those to what you believe about yourself. So for a lot of people, I think that is the scale. And the problem with the scale is that what it does is we weigh ourselves maybe in the morning, and we either like or dislike the number, and then it dictates the rest of our day. So this whole belief system about respecting your body starts being based off of whatever number you saw, and it's really hard to start respecting your body when you're basing everything off of this number. So we really challenge everyone to start changing the way that they view numbers and not let them dictate your life so much. And a lot of times I ask people why they feel it's so important to be weighing themselves every day. So this might even be a good time to ask yourself that. What do you feel like the scale is doing for you? Because really, when we think about it, weighing yourself every day, if the goal is to lose weight or gain weight, is not going to change that at all. It might be something that makes you feel that you're held accountable, but there are other way more gentle ways that you can measure how your body's feeling, and the scale does not have to be one of them.
All right, step number 2 is accepting your present body. Paige just talked about how there are so many more gentle ways to measure your progress, to hold you accountable other than the scale, and we wanted to talk to you about a few of those now. One of the really great ways that I know helps hold both of us accountable is just feeling our body in our clothes. So trying on something that is a realistic size for your body, an outfit that fits for the most part. Maybe it's a little snug, maybe it's a little loose, and just feeling your body in that outfit. Every time you put it on, seeing if you can move in it, if it feels comfortable, if you're able to do the things that you would want to be doing in that day in those clothes. So we're not talking about, trying to squeeze yourself into a pair of pants that maybe fit, when you were 12 years old before you went through puberty, and holding that up as, your ideal body size. That's not what we mean at all. Just feeling your body in your present clothes and seeing the changes that are happening, the positive things that are happening. So whether it's that you need to put on a little weight, and so you're filling your clothes out a little bit more, or you're looking to put on a little more muscle, you want to be a little bit more active, feeling your body fill out those clothes more, or whether you're in a place where you do need to lose a little bit weight to get to your body's healthy, happy place, feeling those clothes open up a little bit for you, so you just have more comfort from either place that you're coming from. That's a really, really great way to measure. Another way to measure if you're taking good care of yourself, if you're nourishing your body the way that you should be doing, is checking in with your mood. Are you really cranky? Are you really irritable? Or do you have energy? Are you happy? Are you excited? Are you sleeping well? Is your skin clear? Those things are great indicators that you are doing the things that your body needs. Sometimes weight is a secondary factor to those things. So sometimes when we're taking really good care of ourselves, we begin to notice positive benefits like clear skin, more energy. And sometimes those things happen before the actual body composition changes. So make sure that you're focusing on the whole spectrum of change.
And I think it's important to talk about even that some of us might need to go and buy new clothes or new underwear or new bras and things that make us feel comfortable in our body, because it's very hard to respect your body when you're feeling uncomfortable and like your jeans are too tight, or something is really baggy and not showing off your curves and being a woman, or any of those kind of things. So sometimes it's important to remember that old clothes are old clothes, and we need to go buy ourselves new things in different sizes that fit and that are comfortable, so that we can start being happy in our body now. Another thing is, a lot of us have the ideal of thinness as being, like, by medical standards, way too thin. So we need to get rid of that ideal and instead understand the appropriate weight that each of us should be, which, like Simi said, would be at a place where you have energy, you feel like you're in a good mood, you don't feel like you're restricting yourself all the time, and you're feeling calm about eating, you feel like you're able to eat intuitively. It's this very natural place that's not hard to maintain and doesn't feel like you're going up and down all the time.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. And what Paige said about going out and buying new pants, buying new bras or underwear, whatever it is, if you feel like something's cutting into you, or something's like really old and ratty, we're certainly not telling you to go out and blow your next paycheck on like a bunch of clothes. But part of accepting your present body means that you're doing the things in your body now that you think you only deserve to do when you're a certain weight.
Yeah.
So if you think, oh, I only deserve to feel good in clothes when I am, X amount of pounds, or when I'm a size, fill in the blank, do those things for yourself now. You have to be respecting, nurturing, loving your body as it is right now. And part of that means treating your body to the things that perhaps in your mind you feel you only deserve at a certain size.
That's so true. Another thing that we want to bring up, which I know that I've mentioned before, is negative comments about your body. So in order to respect your body and accept your body right now, we need to keep the negative comments about ourselves like as minimal as possible, if even there at all. Because the moment that you say something negative about yourself out loud to whoever you're around, it could be a group of girlfriends who also bash themselves all of the time, or it could be your partner or a friend or someone you feel really comfortable around that never bashes themselves. It doesn't matter who it is. Unless it's like a therapist or a health coach or someone that you're trying to work through something with, that's fine. But just mindlessly saying negative things about yourself out loud every time you feel them is not going to do anything but make you feel so much worse and make you feel like everyone else around you is now seeing what you've said about yourself, which is not true.
Right. And a lot of times we say those things out loud because we're just looking for confirmation that it's not true. It's like putting on a pair of pants and saying, to your best friend or your roommate or your husband or whatever, like, oh, I look so fat in these. And really you're just looking for him or her to say, oh, no, you don't. You don't look fat in those. Or asking the question to try and get a certain answer. Like, hey, do you think I look fat in these? To try and get someone to say, oh, no, you don't look fat in that at all. So a lot of times we're looking for this validation from outside sources because we're lacking the internal feeling of self-worth. And it's really, really important that we begin to look internally for that sense of self-worth so that we don't have to rely on outside validation to feel like we are worthy of success, love, friendship, any of those things, pleasure in our current bodies.
And how much better would it feel to be able to have that thought and silence it all on your own and remind yourself like, wait, that's not who I am. I am whatever those things are. Like, I am strong. I am a great writer. I am good at this. And remind yourself who you really are and that you are exactly where you need to be right now.
Absolutely.
Okay, now we are on step 3, which is deciding that you want to love your body right now. So the first part that we want to talk about in this section is actually going to be changing the way you say things to people and the way that you receive compliments from people, and even the way that you think about those things. So a lot of times, so many of us can be in the habit of focusing on telling someone when they look like they've lost weight and letting that be like a really big focus. So now we want to work on, instead of doing that, refraining from actually telling people that they look like they've lost weight when you've noticed something like that, and instead saying, you look really happy, or you look like you're glowing, or you look really in tune with your body, or what's been going on? You seem so much better than the last time I saw you when you were talking about this, or whatever would be related to that situation, and not focusing on the body. So what this is going to do for you is, over time, it's going to help you to stop thinking that other people are constantly focused on your body, because you're starting to recognize these great things about other people that are not related to their body. So you can even do this when you're walking around with your girlfriends down the street and you're used to picking things out about people, like outfits, or maybe it's body size, and changing that and starting to focus on what you think makes someone beautiful that is not related to their size or their body. So it might be something like a laugh or a smile, or thinking that someone looks like, wow, they really look like they decided to spend some time on themselves today in a really sweet, gentle way. And focusing on that more than letting everything be about weight loss and how many times have you gone to the gym this week, and that pressure around dieting. We really want to remove that now. Another part of that is deciding the things that you would do for yourself if you were at the place that you maybe have thought, or maybe still think a little bit, would be your ideal weight or how your body might look. What things would you be doing for yourself at that point that you can start doing right now? So we talked a little bit about buying yourself new clothes. Is that something that you're still holding on to, that you're trying to wait for until you're at a certain place? We want you to go out and buy yourself one new thing today that fits and that's really comfortable and that you can move around in just fine, and you don't feel like it's squeezing you, that it fits you really comfortably. We want you to start doing those things now. Also, if you have this idea that you'll start going to the gym, or you'll start going to dinner with old friends, or reunions, or whatever it is, when you're at a certain place, those are the things that we want you to start doing now.
Absolutely. Your body deserves to be treated well right now, wherever you are in your journey. If you are underweight, if you're overweight, if you're at your perfect, happy, healthy weight, but you just are still struggling with the mental or emotional component, wherever you are, your body deserves to be treated well. She does so much for you. She keeps your heart beating. She keeps your mind working. She heals cuts. She helps you sleep through the night. She digests all of your food. She helps you get from one place to another. She lets you take on physical challenges, mental challenges, emotional challenges. She lets you connect with other people. She's so incredible. She is constantly working even harder than you realize on your behalf. And so you really want to start treating her well now and not wait, punishing her for something, withholding that love, withholding that nurturing side of you from her until you are fill in the blank. So really wanting to start that now. A lot of times we have this like fantasy body in our minds that we maybe pull from media or someone that we know in our lives or wherever it came from. Maybe it's a weight that you once were and you no longer are, and you obsess over those photos where you have certain bones popping out, or your thighs aren't touching, or you're seeing that in a model, whatever. Maybe it's a photoshopped model, maybe it's someone you know in real life. But whatever that image is, whatever that ideal is that you hold up in your mind, we want you to just try and release that and instead focus on where you are right now and just loving your body, doing really nice things for her right where you are now. Because that ideal that you have in your mind is not the only place where you can feel beautiful. It's not the only place where you deserve to feel beautiful. And so we want to draw you away from that and realize that your natural weight, the weight where you're going to feel happiest and healthiest, that's going to be beautiful, not necessarily these unhealthy ideals.
And probably even that unrealistically thin place that some of us have in our mind is not going to be the place that you're happiest. Usually when people, including myself, have gotten to a weight that is unrealistically small, you're more unhappy because now you have more pressure on you. You constantly feel like you should be doing better. You basically never feel like it's enough. So it's really a lie to believe that when you're at your smallest place, or if you lose just a little bit more weight, that you'll be happier. That's really not true. So we together want you to focus on health and feeling good in your body instead of the way you look at all. We want you to focus on How am I sleeping? Am I excited to wake up and eat something for breakfast? Am I feeling hungry? And am I able to listen to my hunger signals? Am I excited to cook at home? Am I excited to ride my bike or take a walk with friends? Things, anything that you connect in a gentle way to feeling healthy, we want you to be doing those things and to be focused on getting your body to this place where you're feeling more vibrant and more energetic, and you can do the things that mean so much to you.
Yeah, if there's things in your lives that are keeping you from being gentle with yourselves, those are the things that you've got to get rid of. We talked way back in the beginning of the program about ditching diet propaganda. You know, if there are magazine pictures that you have posted up on your wall, or a certain website that you're going to, whatever it might be, you've got to get rid of those things. Going back to the scale, if the scale is something that is making you talk negatively to yourself, that scale has got to go. So anything that is taking away the ability for you to be really gentle with your body, definitely ditch those things, because they're not helping you. This journey is about incredible transformation, but not because of punishment. It's about incredible transformation because of a gentle love that you're going to learn to cultivate with your body. So those things that are causing the nasty self-talk or the feelings of not being good enough, we just want to get those out of the way.
And we would be really excited to name this lesson Love Your Body, but we understand that that might be a really big step right away, just in this first however long this has taken you to get to session number 10. So we named it Respect Your Body instead, so it felt more approachable and felt more like a choice. So we hope that by respecting your body over time, that you will get to a place where you feel like you can actually love your body and be thinking of her in that way all the time.
I used to live and die by the scale. It was my best friend or worst enemy. Every morning I would wake up and I would not let myself have any water because I didn't want any fluid to go into my body and risk like increasing the number on the scale. I would go for a run, usually anywhere between like 3 and 8 miles, and would not have any water during that time. I'd come home, go into the bathroom, I'd have a big glass of water ready for after I weighed myself. So I was like totally dehydrated by this time. Would strip off all my clothes, get on the scale, weigh myself, document the number, get off, chug the water, get into the shower. So this was a way that I obviously measured whether the day was going to be good or the day was going to be bad. And even though I was taking care of myself mostly the same way this entire time, there would be days where I would get on the scale and the weight would move up. Sometimes it was a half pound, sometimes it was 3 pounds, sometimes it was 5 pounds, whatever fluctuations were being caused. And of course that would like create this internal freak out. I would feel disgusting, I'd be crying, I'd be so upset. There were days where, you know, during law school, I would skip a class because I was so grossed out by my weight that I'd have to go get a second workout in. And so I would literally not go to class so that I could go to a hot yoga class and like try and sweat out some of the weight or whatever it was. And then there'd be days where the weight would go down and I was on cloud 9. I'd feel so good. That would be the day where I would have the confidence to wear a fitted shirt. This number literally dictated my entire life from day to day. I never, ever, ever thought that I would give up the scale because if I didn't have the scale, how would I know how I was supposed to feel that day is basically what I thought of it. It was like my mood compass. And when I started eating intuitively, I knew that the scale had to go because it was literally impossible for me to eat intuitively when I was weighing myself. Because if the scale was low, then I would feel really good and perhaps would give myself permission to eat something that I might not even be hungry for, might not even want. If the scale was up high, I would instantly go into super clean mode or restriction mode because I would need to bring that number down. So seeing that number, for some people, might have no effect on them, but for me, it took away my ability to feel what was really going on in my body. And let's say I had been taking really amazing care of myself, had been listening closely to my body, feeding my body the foods that it was asking for, was feeling really great, my clothes were fitting really well, all of that, everything on paper looked really wonderful. If I would get on the scale and it would have fluctuated up, like even a half pound, I would freak out and would instantly change my habits, or would instantly want to diet again, or want to calorie count again. So for me, getting rid of the scale gave me so much freedom to really listen to my body. And I don't have a scale. I do not get on the scale. And sometimes, even if I go to the doctor's office and I feel that seeing the number would trigger me one way or another, either it would make me feel really good or it would make me feel badly, I just tell them that I just decline from getting on the scale or ask if I can get on backwards, and they're totally fine with that, because I don't want that number to mess up the wonderful relationship that I have with my body. So instead now I measure my progress, I measure my health by how I feel, the choices that I'm able to make. Am I able to really listen to my body, honor my body? Am I sleeping well? How's my skin doing? How are my clothes fitting? And I can honestly say that when I finally got rid of the scale, when I finally stopped living for that number, that my body did lose weight. I did have to go down a pant size. So my fear of getting rid of the scale and gaining a bunch of weight, because I wouldn't have that constant monitoring happening, I wouldn't have that numeric accountability, was basically invalidated by the fact that actually my body responded so well to living intuitively, where before the extra control just didn't feel right.
Okay, so for my share today, I'm going to take you way back. So long time ago, I don't even know how many years ago, maybe 8 years ago, when I started dieting for the first time ever, I used to use the scale and clothing to try and force myself to a size that was unrealistically small to me, but in my mind, I thought it was the only acceptable size. So I had this piece of clothing that I think I got on sale or someone must have given to me, but it did not fit me. It was too small. And I took it and I hung it on a hanger, and I hung that hanger on the back of my door so I would see that piece of clothing every single day, and it would remind me that I needed to fit into that piece of clothing as my ultimate goal. So you could imagine how focused on weight loss and getting smaller I was every single day. So when people would comment on my body and tell me that it looked like I had lost weight, what was I doing? They wanted to do that too. It made me feel like, wow, I'm really accomplishing something. I'm doing really good. People are starting to like me. I'm hanging out with some of the girls that I never thought I would hang out with before. And so I started to identify myself by the fact, or not the fact, but I believe the fact to be that losing weight makes you really likable and people start to trust you and look up to you, and this is what you need to keep doing. So I kept doing that. I eventually got to a place where I fit into that skirt, and like I said, it was a size that was way too small for my body, and then people started to get worried. So then I became very confused, like, okay, now I'm too small for people. Now that might push people away. And I was always focused on weight loss and who I was as a person related directly to what size I was. And at that time, I was weighing myself multiple times a day. So it was a huge, huge stress for me. And fast forward so many years later, like 7 years later, I started eating intuitively, and that was fantastic. And I remember there was a period of time for 30 days that I weighed myself just to show myself that my weight had stabilized every day, which is why I can say that I know when you're eating intuitively, your weight is much more stable when you're at your natural weight. I was still weighing myself at this point when I was eating intuitively, and I definitely felt more free, but the scale still determined my mood a little bit. So I had never been a person up until this point who lifted weights because I was so afraid that it would make the scale go up. So I completely stayed away from it. My fiance at the time, now my husband, wanted me to start lifting weights with him. It's just something fun to do, and I really wanted to too, but I was so terrified of the weight gain. I thought the scale would go up. So at that point, I decided if this is gonna stop me from doing something that's really healthy for my body, then it's not worth it to me to keep it in my life. So I actually talked to Marco at the time, who is my husband now, and told him that I didn't want to weigh myself anymore and that I was going to put my scale away, and I wanted him to know because I wanted to tell just one person, not so that he could be asking me all the time if I had weighed myself, but so that I knew, like, I don't want to do this because I don't want to tell that person that I weighed myself. I want to stick to what makes me feel really good. So I put the scale away, and since then I have not weighed myself, just like Simi does at the doctor's office. I tell them just to simply not tell me the number. I'm happier without knowing it, and I feel a million times more free. I can skip a workout if I want to. I can lift weights. I can have a little bit of a heavier meal and not worry about it. It's never on my mind. I just am constantly believing that no matter what, my body will balance itself out. So it is so freeing to not weigh yourself. So if you can commit to doing that, it is so powerful.